Boom. What's going on, everyone? It's Rahman Mustafa.
It's Emmanuel.
And it's the Ends to Excellence podcast.
Woo.
Thank you for joining us.
Second season and that.
Yes. We're here for the second season in a different office. Hope you like the way it looks and that.
Upgraded, got a bit of money now.
Don't know. Whoa. I don't know about that.
It's coming.
It's all mad. But today we have a special guest. We have Tasha Antwi.
Hello, hi.
For all those that don't know, Tasha is a Global SEO Account Director working with a leading global media company and advertising agency with over 6 years experience, working with many known fashion brands like Bottega Veneta, Gucci, Ralph Lauren, Mr. Porter, New Look, as well as brands like Lego, big deal, Associated Press, and Barcelo Hotels. Okay, excellent. Welcome to the podcast, Tasha. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Cool. So one of the first things we always ask our guests is, what ends are you from?
Ends, I'm from East London.
East London. Whereabouts in East?
Specifically.
E15.
E15, Stratford,
Like
yeah.
that,
Stratty.
Originally a plaster girl.
Oh, wow.
I moved down the road.
Okay, say no
I
more.
live not too far from Fat Chaps.
I don't know what that
I
is.
don't know what that is.
No,
It's okay,
we're from. Okay. Sorry, we're from South, so
I just drive past. I just know the Recton exit is smelly, innit?
Mad.
That's all I know.
No,
Mad.
I can't speak on behalf of Beckton.
Okay.
mad. Okay, boom.
We can't take
That's how I've been
responsibility.
told.
And what industry would you say you're excelling in right now?
Industry, so digital marketing. So basically, most of what I do is digital. So everything I do is digital related across various platforms and search. So like e-commerce, apps, social media, and different search engines which are unique to other markets, which we might not use in like the UK, for example. Like in Russia, you use Yandex.
Never
Okay.
heard of that.
It's a search engine.
And what else?
Okay.
What other search engines are there?
There's quite a few. There's Baidu in China. There's Yahoo Japan.
Yeah.
Can't remember the rest, but yeah, there's quite a few.
Okay. Boom. All right. So your title is a Global SEO
Account director.
Account Director.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
So what that means is that basically for one of my main clients, which is like Lego, it's the biggest toy company in the world.
It is.
So we basically, in terms of the company I work for, we look after their media globally.
Right.
Okay.
And so because of that, we have like a bit of a centralized structure. So everything that we do comes from the global hub, which is us, basically. So then I look after the global team. So we set the standard in terms of what the strategy is. That gets cascaded down to the regional leads, and then that gets cascaded down to the local markets.
Got you.
Oh, wow.
So if Lego has a new campaign, it came from you.
Yeah, well, if it's a search one, yeah.
Got you.
Okay.
Dope.
It's either it comes from us or it could be a wider media thing.
Okay.
That we've contributed towards. So for example, if there's like a new product launch, then we would contribute to what that would entail from a search perspective.
Got you.
Right. Okay.
Dope.
Let's take it way back. So in terms of so what happened? Like, what's your qualifications? How did you start your journey?
Do you know what? It's a funny one because where I met you guys as well. I originally went obviously Brunel, and I had thoughts of potentially being a doctor.
All right.
So
what did you study in Brunel?
Like all African kids.
Yeah, I did biomedical science, and I did that just because I didn't do chemistry and physics at A level,
Right.
Okay.
which obviously was something I needed to get onto a medicine degree. So then my next option was to basically do biomed, and then the plan was when you finish biomed, I think you go into like the second or third year of medicine. I can't remember what it was now. So that was the plan. But then obviously when I went to uni, I guess I didn't really enjoy the course.
Okay.
It was quite hard, and then I remember finding out at some point that even the course at Brunel wasn't accredited. I don't know if it is now.
Mad.
But
So they didn't tell you that at the beginning?
well, I didn't realise that it had to be a thing.
They
So
didn't
obviously,
make it explicit.
which meant that we didn't learn certain modules that were crucial to make it accredited, like hematology and stuff like that.
Mad.
And then I guess uni life happened. I just, I'm not gonna lie. I remember there were days where like I had coursework due, and I'll just chill, and I'll hand it in tomorrow.
Mad.
Wow.
Mad.
Because obviously I knew, like obviously at Brunel, if you had it in a day late, you would still get a B.
Okay.
Like, it would be capped. So
Hand it on time, guys.
Yeah.
Don't.
Honestly, don't do this. Yeah, don't do this. But it just hit me that maybe I don't really, I'm not
Care
really
about
enjoying
this.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't care about it. And then I remember not failing a year and having to repeat. And then I was just like, and then after a while I was just like, I don't know why I'm doing this, and I just dropped out of Brunel. And I remember everyone was like, why didn't you just finish? Because I had done second year. Did you not know this?
No, but
But yeah, it's your story. It's your story. It's cool.
Yeah. So everyone, because I remember people were like, why didn't you just finish? And I was like, I don't really I'm not on it. So basically, I'll finish to get a third.
Got you.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Fair.
I'll
You
probably
knew.
finish to get a third or like a 2-2 or something.
You knew where it was gonna head.
Yeah,
it was
or
heading.
a
Yeah.
2-2 or something. And this wasn't for me. Like I just knew that I'm not on it. And I remember my uncle asking me to come and like work with him really briefly at Guy's, because he used to work at Guy's Hospital. And I remember thinking, this is not for me. Like,
Got you.
Right, yeah.
Like I'm still interested in the sciences and stuff like that, but it just wasn't. That's when it hit me that it's not for me. So I ended up working for a year at Miss Selfridge, kept getting promoted there, and like getting my money up. But it was obviously, it's not any big boy money. Like I was working in a shop.
Yeah.
But I remember like at that point, everyone was kind of like, if they're not finishing uni, that they're doing the last year of uni.
Got you.
Yeah.
Some people had even started like, you know, getting their little jobs and that. And I just remember thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. And I remember thinking like, okay, like, apart from science, I've got this interest in fashion, and I also have this interest in business, and I just applied for a business and management course, and then I got on it.
Where was this?
At Kingston.
Okay.
So, and one of the inspirations was that I remember thinking, like when I was doing that job, I was just like, oh, I can't be, you know, on your Saturdays, I could be in the shop until like 9, and then you can't leave until 10. And people are, this is the time when my friends are getting ready to go out.
Got you.
And I can't really enjoy like the way they're enjoying, because I have to work weekends. So I found that I was coming a bit disconnected from my friends as well.
Got you.
Just because they're doing their Monday to Fridays.
Yeah, 9 to 5s.
9 to 5s, and I'm doing crazy hours and
Shift work.
weekends.
Yeah.
Like basically shift work. And then I was like, oh, kind of thing. I remember thinking that, and I remember because I was like a supervisor at Miss Selfridge, I remember serving the head of marketing once, and what they do is they obviously take things out for free to give to press and doing shoots and stuff like that. But someone of management has to put it through the till.
Got you.
Yeah.
So I'd always serve this woman. I've forgotten her name now, it's really annoying, but I always used to like to serve this woman. She was really nice, and one day I just said, do you guys do internships? So she was like, yeah, we do actually. I was like,
dope.
These people, enemy of progress.
And they're watching you serve.
Yeah,
Because,
because she was like, yeah, like they have opportunities for people to come from the shop floor to work in her office.
Got you.
Wow.
I was sitting on these.
Wow.
Yeah.
And obviously, I only found that out just from asking her.
Wow.
Yeah.
So within 2 weeks, I was in the head office working. And when I was there, that's when I was like, going back to uni.
Yeah.
I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Dope.
And then I remember applying and getting, I think I only applied to one uni, and I got in it
Straight away.
And my uni experience the second time around was completely different from the first.
Got you.
I was literally, I treated uni like work.
Got you.
I didn't bother making no friends.
Wow.
If I spoke to you, it's because we had to do some work.
I see.
Yeah.
And
No new friends,
one or two
yeah?
of those people, like I still speak to now, like say hi. But literally, I wasn't there to make
To mess around,
I
yeah.
wasn't there to mess around.
Straight
I would
business.
literally treat everything like a 9 to 5. So even if I had no lectures, I'll make sure I was on campus by 9 a.m. I'm in the library studying.
Dope.
I'll go to my lectures. I knew that I had to leave there by 3:30 if I'm driving back.
Yeah.
Got you.
Just to avoid that traffic, especially on Jamaica Road.
Yeah.
The way back, like I had it all timed, and I treated it like a 9 to 5. And where I had obviously rinsed 2 years of my
Your initial
fees,
university.
student loan.
Yeah.
They will only pay
pay one.
for like one more year, and
Ooh.
I did the at the end. So I had to then work
To
basically
cover the
costs.
So that
of my
was
tuition
and then
fees.
that was a secondary 3-year undergrad course.
Yeah, it was number 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Right.
so I was working at one point. I was working back to back. I used to have one crazy schedule, like on especially like so where I had moved to basically accommodate now that I'm back at uni, because where I was working full time.
Yeah.
And I was at the other place, Miss Selfridge, the main store. That they wanted me there full time.
Got you.
But then to be part time, I had to move to House of Fraser. So I was still working for myself, but I was looking after a Matt. And there's a dual site manager, so who wasn't there. So I would be the one doing payroll, and doing all the admin stuff that he had to do in the shop. So I used to go to work on a Monday, do payroll, leave work, go to uni, do some stuff. On a Tuesday, I used to have a 9 a.m. lecture, and Kingston is different to Brunel, like they're stricter. So like if you were late for a lecture, you don't get let in. So if you've travelled, it's very painful. They tell you,
like secondary school, what's that?
They tell you can't come in a class when you spent an hour and a half travelling to get there.
And you're paying to be there?
Yeah.
That's mad still.
But anyway, it makes you respect
they did that.
Yeah,
I had beef with a lecturer once over that, because I was like, you don't know what I've been through to get
here.
So you need to let me in. I was so angry. But yeah, so I used to make it so I used to leave my house by 6 a.m. I used to take a free route, because these days I was broke. And I had like a free oyster, because my dad used to work for TFL.
Got you.
So I would leave the house at 6 a.m, sit on the district line from West Ham all the way.
Wowza.
Yeah, like all the way to like Putney.
Yeah.
Then from Putney, sit on the what was it? I can't remember the name of the bus. The 86 all the way down.
Mad. So where was the head office?
Which one?
The head office. You said you did the internship.
Yeah, so that was an internship. So that was in Central.
Okay, cool.
So that's why I was like, but I did that internship for like a few weeks, but then had to move back to the shop floor. So that's why I had this crazy schedule.
Got you.
So then I would obviously go down and have my 2-hour lecture, and then I'll sleep on the train to then start work for 1, and I didn't finish work until 10.
Mad.
And
that was like what I had to do. And I remember when I came to the end of the my course, I was looking at jobs. So basically I came across what I do now. It's because I did a dissertation on online advertising on fashion brands.
Okay.
And obviously where I don't work in digital or anything like that, I didn't really know what I was like doing. And obviously through researching and writing my piece, that's when I came across PPC, SEO, programmatic, display. You don't know what I'm talking about.
No. But we'll get into that.
But like all this stuff. So that's when I came across it. So then I was like, and I just knew that this is the future. This is probably where things are heading. Like no one's really going into like traditional marketing anymore.
And what year was that?
Online. So this would have been 24. I graduated in 2014. So maybe like 2012?
2012.
I think it was like 2012 when I was doing this actually.
Got you.
That's when I clocked, this must be. So I just started applying for jobs in that field. And I remember I remember very clearly, like, when you're going to work and you're kind of comfortable, and I might look at an application and take ages to do it, but I remember having an argument with my manager. And so I'd taken my first ever agency I worked for, I remember seeing the role and I'm thinking, I'll apply for that later. And I carried my laptop to work, and then I got to work, and then I changed the shop floor around, did some VM. And I remember my manager coming in to visit the shop, and she was like, these aren't finger space and this and that. And I was like, I was done. Obviously, people have come and
move things around.
And then she tried to chuck it, and I was just thinking, she needs to get out of my face. And I just thought, I need to go to work to have something more important to argue about than finger spacing or clothing. Literally. And she got me so mad. I waited for her to leave the shop floor. As soon as she left, I just said to the other girl that was managing, I was like, listen, I'm going stockroom. I was gone.
Mad.
I was gone for 2 hours. You know what I did? I took my laptop, I walked all the way down Oxford Street, I went to Joe and the Juice, from House of Fraser to Joe and the Juice. And I switched off my phone, and then I did that application form. I remember calling Pillar and say, hey, can you just double check this? And gonna help a sister, I'm gonna add you on my CV.
Can't lie, I feel like I have to come back right as well still, man.
When you're trying to get somewhere, you have to do these little things. And at the time, she was running her own little social media things. So I was like, can I just add this onto the CV and say I did something? And I used to help her out with events, so it was a little white lie, but and she was like, yeah, cool. Then did the application, and I remember I got a call back the following day, and then within 2 weeks I was gone. New job.
So that was your first application. That's what got you into the industry. Dope. And where was that?
That was at Ford 3D.
Okay.
That was at Ford 3D.
Doing what?
I was doing SEO, so I was an exec. It was like a grad role. It was like entry level, and that's when I realized that how new this industry was, because the agency had only been running for about just on like 8 years or something like 7-8 years, and that particular agency was actually born out of affiliate marketing.
Right.
Don't know.
Go on. What is affiliate marketing?
How can I describe it? So affiliate marketing has a few different verticals. So basically,
verticals. Talk that talk. Go on.
Yeah. So like for example, you know, like where I have a blog, right? And I
think I know what it is now, but continue.
Yeah. So for example, if I've now bought something from ASOS, I can then make an affiliate link. So what that does is that if someone clicks on the link, I then earn like maybe a few pence on the clicks, and then go on to earn commission if people go on to buy.
Yeah.
So the whole purpose of affiliate marketing is to encourage people to be posting links and stuff like that to drive traffic
to their website or to buy their products,
and to drive conversions, especially when it comes to buying products. So that's one element of it. So I could be seen as a publisher or influencer, however you want to see it. And then there's another form of it where you can use like discount websites, so like voucher codes, that kind of thing. So companies will then liaise with these voucher codes websites, come up with a little deal, and then you have like voucher codes on there, and then like that's open to the public that anyone can use. So that's why I was like, there's a kind of a few different verticals of affiliate marketing, but that's what the agency was born out of. And then and even the founder was pretty young, like he's only a couple of years older than us. And he only started it, like the whole agency. I remember being quite inspired by him. He started the agency from reading a book, and he had a few like mentors that were working already in like media and marketing, but they were dabbling in this new thing. Because obviously at the time, people are like now suddenly like really jumping on this wave of like online shopping and online browsing, and social media's all like blowing up and all that stuff. So
what book was it? Do you remember?
Can't remember the name of the book that he read, but I can tell you.
We can, maybe we'll add it in the description or something.
But so I remember, and so then that's when I was like, wow. So at the time they were taking on anyone and everyone who was interested in the field, and they were teaching everyone from scratch. But that's another reason why I've been able to progress so quickly in the industry I'm in.
You were there from its infancy, learning.
Learning as well. So you'll find a lot of people, like young people in very senior positions at digital agencies, because of how quickly it blew up. And like whatever you do in digital, whatever you were doing last year is not relevant this year. Whatever I'm doing now won't be relevant in a few months' time. So if you can pick up the pace and you know what you're doing, you can progress really quickly. So that's basically essentially what happened with me.
Got you. That's dope. What was I going to say? As far as Forward Feet, that's where you first started. How long had it existed before you joined?
Yeah, it was about 7 years old.
Oh, okay.
6, 7 years old.
Okay, that's cool.
So like pretty brand new. Even when I joined the team, we were like maybe 10 people, and I was like one of 3 girls. Like a couple girls. And like we all sat, so basically the founder and owner of it, like also applied like USwitch. And then had like several other businesses that sat under that Ford Internet Group. So he was even like had an internet, like he was way ahead of everybody else. This little thing that he had. So we used to be on one floor, and then suddenly we just went boom, and we grew so big as like people, needed it.
How long was you there for?
I was there for about 4.5 years.
Oh, okay, so quite a while.
Yeah, I was there for a very long time.
You learned your trade there.
So I learned my trade there. And I'm quite happy I started out there just because it's an independent. So what's happened is that obviously where this whole new thing of digitals is like blown up, you have traditional media and advertising agencies trying to like now build and establish their digital departments. So like for example, the company I work for now is part of a group, like a big media group, but it was actually born out of the need of like the other media agencies having clients that are like, oh, we need someone doing SEO, we need someone doing PPC, we need someone doing paid social. They don't have those people, so they
have to require people.
So I think maybe this time last year, half of our floor was my company. And then now we don't fit on the floor.
Oh wow.
Like at all, like that's how quickly we speed. Like when I joined the SEO team at my company now, like literally, there was only 1 or 2 people that had been there longer than a year. Everybody brand new.
Got you.
Because it's just like grown so quickly.
I don't know if I've asked, but what does SEO stand for?
Search engine optimization.
Okay.
Sorry, you say it.
Okay. Did I ask before?
No.
Okay, cool, fair. But yeah, just so the people that out there that don't know. So from Forward 3D, that led you to where you are now.
Yeah. So the only reason why I decided to move was that, when you feel like you know something at the back of your hand and I don't really want to be comfortable. Forward 3D was good in the sense that, yes, it was an independent, and when I started out there, it was pretty small, which meant that I learned, especially when it comes to what I do, SEO, there's loads of different disciplines. There's like content marketing, there's like digital PR could kind of fall into it sometimes. Then you've got technical SEO and all that stuff. So I learned how to do all of that. Whereas if you go to bigger established companies, especially digital agencies born out of media agencies, you'll find that they have everything's very siloed. They'll have a team that's just doing
one thing.
Audience insights. You have a team that's just doing reporting. You have a team that's just doing like tech.
I guess.
Whereas I can do all of those things.
Yeah. That's the benefit for working for like a small company, I guess, right? Yeah, more responsibility and stuff like that.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Cool. So for young people listening, watching this, what would you advise them is the way of getting into your industry right now?
Do you know what? Just apply. Just because of the rate of how quickly the industry is growing and the amount of money that brands are now investing is insane. So people are growing so quickly to the point where, like I said, like even when I was applying, they literally it was a grad day. As long as they liked you, you can come and work. We'll teach you.
Dope.
As long as they'll teach you it, like everything that you need to know. Just because it's such an interesting discipline, because it's marketing by tradition, but then you need to know how like certain digital platforms work. Yeah. Depending on where you might fit. So you've got SEO people who are just optimizing for like e-commerce, so Amazon and other like e-commerce platforms, which is what's the American one called? Walmart, for example, like other things like that people are doing. So, and people might just be doing that, but as long as you read up on whatever it is that you want to do and you have an interest, it's very easy to get into. Anything above, you kind of need people that know what they're doing. But if you want to get into it,
that's the first
get your foot in the door. If you're good, you'll progress very quickly.
So would you say so obviously you went to 2 unis. So would you say like, did you regret going to uni? Would you change that, or would you change even?
Do you know what? It's a very good question. I remember thinking this because at my old agency, there was actually a guy who, when I started, was my manager. He's like a good 6 or 7 years younger than me. Like he was really young. Like he started at 21. Yeah. But he was my manager when I started, and the reason being is because after he was smart enough to be like, oh, I want to work in digital marketing when he was at college, and decided that he didn't so he did an internship with the agency, and they don't usually do that, but he just applied randomly, and then he came to do it, and he was really good, and then he just thought, fuck this shit, I'm not going to continue with my college stuff, and he stayed there.
So you dropped out of college to
and he stayed there, but because, like I said, it's such a new discipline, like literally, even for me, like I'm reading blogs, things like, because something new is happening all the time. Google's updating all the time. There are new new tags that coded, like people who are building sites need to be adding. Like there's always something new happening.
Stay on your toes.
You have to stay on your toes, and he's good. So he kind of proved the fact that you don't actually need to go to uni.
Would you change that to go to uni? Would you not go, if you had the choice now, would you not go to Brunel, for example?
If I had the choice now, I would still go to Brunel, but I would have done business.
Right, okay. So you would have done your course at Kingston at Brunel? Yeah,
I probably would have done the same thing.
Do you think you would have taken it as seriously though?
That's a very good question. I don't know. I think, do you know what it is? I think back then I wasn't actually sure about what I wanted to do. I just did something, if anything, that I thought I wanted to do, which was probably heavily influenced by my parents.
Yes, the African way.
The African way. If I'm 100% honest, I think that's what it is. And then I think when I had that time out, that's when I realized that actually I just need to figure out what it is I want to do. And as soon as I knew exactly what I wanted to do, it was so easy for me. Like I said, I never stressed. I didn't apply for millions of unis. I applied to one. Even when I was looking at jobs, I went to one interview, but I already knew I didn't want it.
Yeah.
Because it was...
This is what, this interview experience, yeah.
The guy that interviewed me was like, nah. So I even cut the interview short.
Bro.
But then the other, I've done business like that. But then the other interview, and I got the job, funny enough, but I declined it.
Mad.
Yeah, I declined it. But then the agency that I ended up working at first, I remember getting that job 2 or 3 weeks after I finished my last exam, because I knew exactly what I was doing.
Dope.
And I knew exactly what I wanted. And then when I applied for the job, I knew that this is the role. I remember even having, this is so mad, I remember having a dream before I even got to the place where I actually saw the reception of the office. This is a bit mad.
You say favour, yeah? Favour.
This is a bit mad. I saw and I remember when I got there, I thought, I've been here before.
Mad.
I had one mad sense of deja vu. And then I clocked, oh my God, I dreamt this. Yeah, it's a bit mad, but I just knew that I had to, that was it.
Yeah. Fair. So, as far as qualifications to get into your industry, you don't need any?
You don't really need any. It doesn't matter what degree that you have. I work with people that have degrees in archaeology.
So then wouldn't your Kingston degree be useless then?
Technically speaking, potentially, I think what uni was good for, I'll tell you what uni was good for. Uni was good for learning how to project manage your time.
Right.
So like, if you did business, how your business, did you guys do business?
No.
Okay, cool. How your business degree was, where you might be given like a task, group work, all that stuff, is exactly the same as what you do in your day-to-day.
I see.
Got you.
When you work in marketing.
Yeah.
Like exactly the same, or in business. So from that respect, you're prepared for that.
Okay.
You're prepared that you would have to work with a group of people on a project. You would have to put together a presentation in slides that you have to present to people, which what you get marked on at uni is exactly the same that you do here. So in terms of people that have started in the industry that didn't go to uni versus the big, like it's long trying to teach them how to now put together a presentation, how to now use Excel, how to now do this. So in that respect, I think uni is important for that. And like even just learning that you've got this project, you have to work on your own to complete it by this deadline, which is exactly the same as uni. You go to your lecture to learn, and then you get given a deadline. It's up to you how you do it. But you just need to deliver it by this time. It's exactly the same day to day.
Okay, so I guess it did help.
It helps. It helps prepare.
But indirectly, basically.
Yeah, indirectly, I think it does help. It doesn't matter what you actually do, but it's the principles of how you make it by in uni is what you need in your day-to-day work.
So what about the other side, as in like...
What's the other side?
I don't know, like, because obviously we've had guests here before saying that it's just basically personal skills which they've learned, like socializing, networking, etc. Is it something that you think you've picked up there, or is it just part of your personality?
Do you know what? I think it's a mix. I feel like I'm slightly shy.
Right, okay. Meanwhile, she's a blogger and
We'll get into that. Go on.
So like, I do think I am slightly shy to a degree, but like as well as knowing how to do your job, you do need to fit in a group.
Got you.
Otherwise, like I said, making reference back to uni, the groups that didn't get on, those are the ones that got fails.
Wow.
Yeah.
They didn't part, like, do you know what I mean? Those are the people that, the ones that had a passer that have to go and complain that this person didn't do any work, those, if that happens in my day to day, that's when we flop on
lose the contracts.
Campaign, losing contracts, losing stuff, because clients pick up on the team,
the
like
dynamic.
not the dynamic and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like it is important, but I feel like you do have to know how to network. You need to have grace as well to ignorant people.
Wow.
I'm saying this obviously as a black woman.
Okay.
Just because
Talk that talk.
Especially in our industry, there's not actually that many black people.
Okay.
Like versus if like accountancy or like doing traditional things, you'll find a lot of black people there. But when it comes to marketing, especially digital marketing, there's not that many people there. So you'll be asked stupid questions. You just have to take your time and explain to the person why what they said was rude or why they don't say that, and they're usually quite understanding, but you just have to take your time that way. But I also learned that it's very important, because when you work with other cultures, like for us, like you might finish work and go home, whereas for them if I say diplomatically though.
Go on. Oh wow.
Yeah, them.
Others in your workplace.
Others in the workplace.
Yeah.
They will.
Workplace culture.
Yeah, workplace culture. They will go. They'll do their work. Then they'll go to the pub for drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that. Do you know what? The pub for drinks is actually so important. Even if you don't drink, just go there, have a Coke, because that's when you have access to very senior people on a social level that get to know you as a person.
Yeah.
And then you'll find that random opportunities come to you because they remember, oh, this person I spoke to in
had
the
a
pub.
Yeah, we had a nice chat.
Great.
Yeah.
Had a nice chat. I want to give them this opportunity to do this. Because I remember when I first started at the current agency I was at now, I remember one time going for drinks, got chatting to like one of the MDs. And then next thing I know, I'm minding my business in the canteen. He's come out of a meeting room opposite and he goes, Tasha. And I was like, hey. And he goes, do you want to speak at this conference? And I was like, okay. You know, I was like, oh. You know the ones I was like, you kind of had to say yeah. And I remember telling my line manager, he was like, how the hell you get that opportunity? He's like, even I've never been asked before.
Mad.
Like he was like, like you know what I'm saying? But and it's because I went, because the conference is quite big. It's for the entire media group, so there was like 600 people there.
That's favourable.
So the people that they asked to do it have to be people of significance. But that's just because I spoke to him and I was telling him, I do this, I do that, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, like this is cool. Do you know what I mean? So. Yeah.
So where did you learn those? Where did you pick that type of stuff up? Because obviously you said, you're from Ghana heritage. You're second generation. So is this something where?
I'm technically first generation.
Was you born in Ghana?
No, no, like first generation Ghanaians here. It depends on
Fair enough. So then, did you have to learn British culture on the job, or would you say, how did you pick those skills up?
Do you know what? I feel like I had to learn on the job. Just, 100% had to learn on the job, just because the way I grew up is that my primary school I was one of 3 black kids in my year.
Out of white people?
So, yeah, they're all white.
Oh, really?
Okay.
They're all white. That was my primary school.
Right.
That's because all the black kids went to the Christian Catholic schools.
Right, okay.
That's why. My secondary school was Catholic, so it was like 70% black people, 20% Filipinos, and then the rest actually. So I've always had loads of black friends, been surrounded by black people like, constantly. And then, so always in that culture, apart from like my neighbours I was friends with who are white. But and then obviously getting to Brunel, there's a huge like black community there. There's a big ACS. I was always involved with those kind of people, you know, that kind of thing there. But then when I got to work in agencies, I realised that actually a lot of people that work here, they're not black, so you need to kind of, that's what I mean about having grace with them. And then B, to them, they hold their friendships and relationships in the workplace quite dearly. And the reason for that is that you'll find that a lot of them actually aren't from London.
Got you, yeah.
So a lot of, like, most of my office are like from different place. In fact, all the black people that work there are from London. Everybody else is from outside. They've moved to London because they're looking for a job or doing something like that. So then they make their friends at work.
Got you.
So that's why it's important to them. And they find it so fascinating that I have a life outside of like work and friends.
Got you. Mad. That's interesting. Still, I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah,
but yeah, so you mentioned some stuff briefly before, but for someone that's trying to get into this industry, what skills do you need to thrive in your industry?
In terms of skills, you need to be willing to learn. You need to be able to pick up things quickly and pick up the pace. So like, as long as you're someone who can like read on something, practice it, and then implement it, those are the kind of like things that you look for. And then also, because it's a bit of a slightly social environment, we also look for people who can like fit into a team. So we're not looking at your like so much what you can do. It's still important. But we're also looking at, can this person fit in this team? Can this person be line managed by this person and learn something? Because obviously if the relationship is a bit odd, then
it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Got you.
Okay, cool. So what would you like, looking back again, so what would you say like your biggest regret was?
Ooh. Good question. I don't think I have any regrets. If anything, do you know what? I think...
Or what would you do, and what would you do differently?
I think I would have done a lot of things that I've done now a bit earlier.
Okay.
I feel like, I don't know, I feel like going back to what I mentioned about me being a little bit shy sometimes. I remember, like, I don't think I always believed in, you know, your own source. So then you might think of something, but I'll do that later, or maybe one day, or that kind of thing. Even when I was at uni and I flopped the first year, I'm doing it again, and then I'm now in second year and I'm not enjoying it. But then a part of me was like, oh, just finish it, you know, that kind of thing. And I feel like quite a few people I knew did that, where they were doing degrees that they didn't really like, but they finished it. And I feel like, if anything, I should have cut that from the first year, and then focus on what I wanted to do. I feel like I wasted time a little bit. But it's all like, but in hindsight, maybe I haven't, because
it's a learning curve.
It was it was a learning curve that I learned from, and I feel like I've spoken to so many people that it's kind of helped them in terms of like their careers. And then also I've kind of excelled past some of my peers who were advising me to finish my degree, and obviously they finished degrees that they didn't really want to do, and then were lost after they finished. You see what I mean?
Yeah. It's favour again.
Cool.
But so as far as your career so far, like, what are your future plans with your career, or even outside?
Good question. So in terms of, I don't plan to work for a company forever, number one. I do quite a few things, like, on the side, obviously.
Like?
Yes.
Digital. I like do consultancy around digital strategy.
Okay.
Yes.
For, as in?
For a few brands that I may not be able to name.
No,
that's fine. Cool.
But yeah, so that's basically what I do. A lot of it is via word of mouth. So, but I'm looking to expand that a bit more, like, bigger.
Dope.
Right, okay.
Dope. And what else do you do outside of work?
I have a blog.
Okay. And what's that? It's whatever you do, you know.
It's a plug to.
Yeah, I do have a blog. It has been a bit quiet, actually, where work kind of took over my life a little bit, because when I changed agency, it was a bit of a mind fuck, shall I say?
Yeah.
Just because, you know, when you're so used, that's what I mean about it's good to move sometimes,
because
I'm so used to how that one place operated, and then this was completely different. I was even hungry when I first started the job. Because my first job, everything was free, including the food.
Wow.
There was even supermarket in the fridge,
wow.
and all that. And I remember looking a bit heavy at the end of that.
Mad.
But it was very different. I feel like I've forgotten what you said.
I can't remember.
So what do you do outside of?
Oh yeah, outside of that, so I do have a blog that I work on. I also do the freelance projects that I do in terms of digital consultancy. At the moment, I've started writing articles for different marketing magazines.
Dope.
So when those drop, I can share those with you as well.
Mad.
Dope.
That's dope.
Yeah, definitely let us know.
So this is just me promoting, like, my skill. And apart from that, other light-hearted stuff. I like football. Obviously into fashion. I started learning to play the piano as well.
Dope.
Stopped that for a bit because obviously I decided to do my nails.
Mad.
But these are going soon. I'm a bridesmaid for a wedding, so when that's all over, the nails are coming off and I'm going back to piano.
Okay. One thing you mentioned, like, fridges being stocked and food and all of that kind of stuff. Food was free, so obviously working in the marketing industry is all like glitz and glamour, and companies giving you free stuff. Like, as far as like, what's the compensation like in this industry?
That's a compensation.
Yeah. Put it in a nice way. In a nice way. Like,
not gonna lie,
is it healthy?
I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of peachy if you work in marketing and advertising, especially if you work for a media agency. There is a lot of freebies, and a lot of it is to do with competition for talent.
Got you.
Because, like I said, it's such a new industry. People are craving like all these brands are like craving talent. So Google's quite known to have like a really good like working environment, and like they've even got like sleep pods and stuff like that. They do the same thing where they have food for free and all that. So a lot of companies kind of base their benefits around
that model.
Around that. And obviously Google, technically to a degree, are almost taking over the world.
Yeah.
So obviously they're trying to, grab
The best of the best.
all the best of the best. So yeah, we do get so at my old age, we did have free food, free lunch, free snacks, free alcohol every week.
Mad. So then,
free parties.
is that off balance by the salary? Do you think?
For that particular agency, I think we were paid slightly less, but then it kind of balanced out, to be fair, because
you weren't paying for lunch.
I didn't go for a whole week without spending
money on food.
A penny.
Yeah.
So like in other industries, for example, you think that it's an average pay.
Yeah, you probably get a bit more, but then if you're someone who's buying lunch, on average, you're probably spending about £7 to let's say £8 to £10 a day, maybe. Okay. If you're disciplined enough to be cooking your lunches, then obviously you save that money. So that's where the difference is. But I do think it's good to get these free things. But like I said, I put on weight. My face was looking very round at one point.
Hey, just enjoying life.
I wish I had free food.
Because it's free, you overindulge in it. If that makes sense. Yeah. And then obviously there's clients, so you might take clients out for drinks or fancy dinners or that kind of thing. Like I get taken out by different media partners that we might work with, or we might use various different tools in terms of the work that we do for SEO. They will do the most. They will send you hampers.
Got you. Wow.
Dinner. They will,
What's the nicest thing you've ever got?
Ooh. That's a good question. What's the nicest thing I've ever got? I remember getting a big hamper. I think it was from GetStar.
Don't know what that is, but
it's
okay.
A ranking tool.
Okay.
Yeah, they said they had a hamper. Oh, I remember getting a bottle of Moet as well. From my old agency because it was my birthday.
Enjoyment, nice.
A whole big bottle.
I have to bring treats into work when it's my birthday. The opposite way. Yeah. Anyway, but let's.
Don't they buy you the cake?
Nah, B.
Yeah,
but anyway,
you're a public sector.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a struggle.
It is what it is.
Every day is somebody's birthday, and every day I'm eating cake.
Yeah, so obviously you painted a picture of digital, so they give you a lot of stuff. You go to a lot of events and stuff
parties,
like that.
Hampers.
So then
the alcohol intake will go up.
Yeah, so then at the moment, so how has it or how is it impacting your personal life, as in other personal goals? For example, we've had guests here before, just talk about where they want to be in their career in terms of I don't know if they want to get married, start a family. X, Y, and Z.
I get that because I see how it can impact goals like that. Just because when you're excelling so quickly, you might think, oh, I'm close to this, I'm close to that, and it might make you think to put those things on hold a little bit.
Okay.
And then a lot of the time, the reason why that there are these perks is that, like I said, if I take it back to the uni example, if you're working on a campaign or a project and this is the deadline,
nothing else matters.
You have to meet the deadline.
Right.
So at uni, obviously you get a little, and maybe you get capped at a D.
Yeah.
But you're talking about you could lose a contract worth a couple £100,000 if you're not meeting things on to the deadline.
Yeah.
So you'll find that even if my office is not far from here, I bet if you go back there, people on the floor working on something. So that's what I mean about it's up to you to manage your time. So that's why I said it's good that the principles that you learn at uni are so important. Obviously, people take that for granted, but in the real workplace, it's real. If you're not making a deadline, you can lose your job.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to make sure you do those things. So you might work quite late hours, and I do feel like in the past it has impacted me in terms of I remember I went for a period where obviously I'm boarding this new big client. Obviously it's a global thing. There was so much going on and I was doing so many late nights, and I remember, this is going to be a funny story, I remember one time we had some work to do, and when you're just going nuts, because I was I've been here till 10 every day for a week, and one of the girls was I have to go because my boyfriend is. I was like, your boyfriend? I was like, what about me? I was listen, I started shouting. I was like, don't let me start shouting in the office. I was like, do you think I want to, who do you think I'm marrying? The laptop or the screen or the keyboard? I was like, if we all stay and finish what we need to do, we can leave here at least at 7. you know, like the work needs to get done. You know what I was like thinking? I just was this guy out of her mind.
Mad.
Because your boyfriend doesn't pay your wages. If you're not delivering this work, you don't have a job.
Took like a real boss.
No, but I was
So is there no space for Tasha's boyfriend then?
Yo, that pivot, boy. Yo.
So at one point there probably wasn't. At one point there probably wasn't. Now there is.
Hey, okay.
Okay.
Just because I've got things in line, I've got the correct people that I need to work with, so things are in order.
Okay.
So the Avengers have assembled. The team is correct. So everything can happen.
Yeah, everything can happen. Now
Dope.
we've got time
I
for that.
can. Oh, really? So the inbox is open.
Mad.
Okay, cool.
Mad.
Okay, cool.
Last question before we go. I'd say, what do you feel like has been your biggest hurdle in your job today?
Biggest hurdle. Do you know what? I think being black.
And how has that been a hurdle for
Calling
you?
a spade. Just because I feel like I said, there's not that many black people that work in our industry. And so I've come across a lot of ignorant fools.
Okay.
But obviously, like I said, you have to give them, like, you know, grace.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like on occasions there's been opportunities where they've come across, but then they might pick other people, and I don't know what the reason is other than the colour of my skin. And also, I don't mind speaking up on stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I've kind of found it hard to find a balance of putting my point across but not looking like that angry black woman.
Okay.
But then at the same time, I don't want things to slide. So like, there's so many stories I remember I used to have, even at my old agency, people were like, oh, why don't you leave, why don't you do this? And I was like, do you know what, I could leave, but the problem will still exist.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The problem will still exist. So it's better for me to just fight that battle and educate people that are there. Because I remember the more people that started joining the company as the company grew, it started getting in more, obviously, black people. And it was only when I left that company I didn't realise how much it meant to people about me being there.
Dope.
And being in the position I was in. Because I used to, technically speaking, I was the most senior black person there. Like, in the company.
Dope.
And then later on they hired like a head of marketing that was black, but before then it was just me. So imagine all these people coming in at junior level. I'm friends with all of them. We had like a mini ACS. They'll have issues. Yeah, sure. I used to be head of the mini ACS, like I said. And then like if they had issues with their line manager, maybe they said something out of turn, maybe they made a joke about them being a shadow in a picture or something like that.
Mad.
Yeah, it could be as mad as that.
Yeah.
I remember there was a time where one of my friends, she's a good friend of mine now, but I remember she had an issue where her manager made a comment about, you know, when the whole Black Lives Matter thing was like big, he was like, oh, what, like, he made a comment about, oh, like, what's this shit, like, what's da-da-da-da, like, he basically dimmed it. Obviously that pissed her off, so she didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
Obviously this is her manager.
Yeah.
So she came to me, so loads of people used to come to me on like these weird issues.
Yeah.
I say they're not really weird, but they're black people issues. And obviously now just educate them on how to get around it, because some of it would be like, just talk to them and say why it's wrong. I remember one time when I first started at my agency, I remember sitting around a table one time, and there was this girl and a guy. They were singing one Jason Derulo song that had 2 Chainz on it. I can't remember what the song is. And they only got to 2 Chainz as part. They're like, oh, Tasha, can you do it? And I was like,
wow.
Who told you I'm a rapper?
Wow.
Obviously, they've looked around the table and said, oh, you can sing this part. And it's just like...
Yeah.
And then I remember another time, because sometimes I can be a bit prissy with things, and I remember one time, another guy was like, oh, I didn't think Africans were that prissy. I was like, what do you mean? Like, oh, like, you like to have your things in order and stuff like that. And I was like, so do you think Africans just scatter everything? Like,
Mad.
Talk to me. So I had to explain to him, like, I don't know what you mean. And I was like, no matter whatever you think, that's not what it is. I had to explain to him, but that's what I mean. Like, you have so many random comments, and even now, where as senior as I am, I get faced with, okay, so I work on a very high-profile client for the whole business. So, for example, if the CEO, I've had occasions where if the CEO might want to hear a little update on it.
Yeah.
which is like they don't really care about all the other, but because
The headlines. Yeah.
because this particular brand is so
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
And then I obviously work across organic. There's other people that work across paid media. What they'll do is they'll be like, oh, can you speak on this about organic? And it's like the person doesn't do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then what will happen is that person will come and ask me, oh, can you give me an update on this? Because I've been asked to speak to the CEO. And I was like,
But
I'm
then
asking you
Yeah.
when I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And nobody's got anything better to say to me.
Mm.
And then even more recently, actually, I was offered a role, which would be like a promotion, essentially. I was offered a role, and then I was told I was being given an equal opportunity as another white male who has been in this position for under a year, whereas I've been an account director for the last 3 years.
Mm.
Are you mugging me off?
Mad.
Like, you know, it was like, I'm not saying he's not good at his job, but in terms of the experience, the accounts, the brands, the things that I've done, we
Not the same.
Compared, we're not the same. So why am I given an equal opportunity? That severely offended me. So that's my latest campaign.
Got you.
Where I'm working. No one's mugging me off like that.
Yeah.
And I'm quite lucky that where I'm working now, the HR department is very diverse.
Okay.
And if you work in a company where they are not, you're fucked. I'm just being honest. Actually, you're fucked.
Yeah.
But it's because where I am is a very diverse like workplace, and they are actively trying to push women into particular like roles of like leadership, and they're trying to do that for like BAME community. They're doing a lot, which I respect, because our CEO, she's female, she's pushing those things. But if you're, for other agencies, like my old agency, say anything up, try and talk to them about, oh, we're doing this for Black History Month. They'll be like, huh?
Yeah.
What is that?
What month is that?
I get swept on the carpet, whereas like I've been busy this week working on stuff like that.
Dope.
So.
Okay, wow,
cool.
that's a serious hurdle still.
It is. We should have asked that earlier.
Yeah, we should have still, but yeah. So
fine, I can come back again.
yeah, we can do this most definitely. So thank you for joining us, Tash. How can the people get in contact with you or your socials?
Follow me on Instagram, which is Tasha_ANTWI.
Okay. Excellent.
That's it.
But yeah,
number,
boom.
Inbox, nothing.
Oh.
I'm joking.
Don't mind E-Man. But yes, this is the Ends to Excellence podcast. Thank you for listening. Boom.